Hey there family, Peter Gordon here. Thank you very much for clicking on this video, which is titled Single Life, the opportunity for ... What does Peter mean by that? Now, before I get into that, let me say this. For those of you who are watching this video, a video of mine for the first time, thank you so very much. I hope you come back for the other ones. For those of you who are coming back, thank you for your continued support. When I make these videos, it is my hope that I essentially try to not preach at you. Because that's not what I'm about, that's not what I'm trying to do. Instead, what I hope to do is to come at you from the optic of my lens. Essentially, I try to talk about my life experiences. It is in my hope that you'll be able to draw parallels between your life and my life and be able to make positive changes in your life, if you will, or continue to do the positive things that you're already doing. So let's get back into the heart of the matter. Is single life the opportunity for what? What I want to do is to give you a quick little story here. So in late 2017, in 2017, I started going through the period of separation from my ex-wife, and then in late 2018, the divorce was finalized. I will be the first to tell you, and I don't hide this. During that period, and for a couple of months after the divorce, I was completely lost. I had no clue I was. I did not know whether I was coming or going. I was completely lost. No clue who Peter was. The truth is, how could I have known who Peter was? Because Peter didn't know who Peter was. You see, Peter's identity was tied into the marriage. My identity was tied into my marriage. So when the marriage ended abruptly, how could I have known? How could I even have a clue? I was lost. And it was a very difficult period of time for me because, again, I didn't know who I was. But what the opportunity the single life gave me, and I had to be really intentional about this, was that it gave me an opportunity to find my identity. It gave me the opportunity to find my identity. And let me tell you how it allowed me to do so. One, of course, you're single. So again, and as I said before, I became very intentional about it. The first thing I did, I started to find myself slowly but surely, intentionally working on getting over the fear of being alone. That was a big thing for me, you see. Many of us confuse alone with being lonely. Alone is not a bad thing. Alone means you choose to be by yourself, to your thoughts. But alone does not mean you don't have a circle around you, right? Of friends you can reach out to and talk to, right? So alone is not a bad thing. Alone means you're by yourself and you're able to kind of unpack and think about yourself in certain ways, right? Lonely is another thing. Lonely means you're by yourself, but you don't have a circle. And the problem with being lonely is it can trigger mental issues, depression, anxiety, all those things. So lonely is not where you want to be. So being alone for me allowed me to get over the fear of being alone. It was such an interesting time for me because I realized that first couple of months I was like, man, I'm by myself, man. But I started to realize that it wasn't such a bad thing. And in that solitude, right, I started being able to think about decisions I had made. Why did I think that way? I started thinking about my childhood. It just gave me an opportunity to really start to unpack. And I will say this, I was very intentional about it, right? You can be alone and still still not think about these things. I became intentional about thinking about these issues in my past, right? And as I started thinking about them, I realized that it just gave me moments of clarity, moments of thought, moments of development, if you will, And the next thing it did was, which is so funny because if you know me, people used to say to me back in the day, you have to develop a relationship with yourself. That's the first person you should be in love with. And I'm like, whatever. I know it sounds silly, but I didn't think that way, And I think perhaps maybe because the way I was raised, you're taught to be tough and just keep going, right? But being alone allowed me to develop the greatest relationship I've ever developed, which is with myself. right? It allowed me to start truly liking who I was and liking who I thought I could become. It allowed me to see myself as a writer. I started writing a book, which I finished, by the way, and I'm going to get it out. It's just life is busy right now, but I'm going to get it out, right? But it allowed me to write this book. It allowed me to realize that, you know what? Sure, I'm in my mid-40s, but I can go back to school and become a psychologist. And here I am in school. All those things was based on getting over the fear of being alone and then developing a real relationship with myself. That is what the single life gave me. That is the opportunity it gave me. But again, as I mentioned, I was very intentional about it, right? So those are the opportunities. Getting over the fear of creating your identity by getting over the fear of being alone, and 2, developing a true relationship with yourself, right? Now, I may one day choose to be in a relationship. I don't know, right? I'm not in any rush. What I'm happy with is I'm cool with being alone, and I'm developing this sense of who Peter is, right? So if you're alone, I hope this sort of resonates with you. Or if you're single, I hope this resonates with you. If you're in a marriage and you're thinking about a marriage or relationship and you're really not happy and maybe you are really fearful of being single, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm not encouraging anyone to end their relationships, by the way. I'm just saying that many times we don't make decisions that we need to because we are fearful of being alone. And really that fear is tied into your identity, is tied into your relationships, right? And you haven't truly created your own identity. So I hope this makes sense. I hope I'm not preaching to you, that you see from my experiences, and again, you draw parallels. Anyways, family, stay well.